Good morning, everybody. It is Indie Bookstore Day. It is very early on Indie Bookstore Day. It's about 7 o'clock. I am heading over to a local cafe to meet up with some friends. We are gonna grab some coffee and just relax for a little bit before we head over to our first shop of the day. I'm gonna take you guys along with me. I'm very excited to be out and about. I didn't film anything for like a wish list or anything like that, but you know, I've got some things that I want to get. I really want to get my hands on Yesteryear. I don't know if it's gonna happen because it's a very popular book right now, I think. Some other things that I want, some sequels and stuff, but yeah, filming in public is such a weird concept. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog, and I'll be back with you after we go through everything, and I'll show you everything that I got for the day. So happy Indie Bookstore Day.
I don't want another lover of a pixelated dream, a barren burning wasteland where nobody can be seen. I only wanna have you as a river does a creek, drinking up the other and bending. I don't wanna see another through a mighty window pane, hearing only fables and giving people names. I only wanna have you in the common kind of way, finches in the morning and the sound of a night train. Easy come, easy go, make it easy to be known. Easy come, easy go, make it easy to be known. I don't want another lover of a version of myself. I've memorized the dances. I won't ask you for your help, and you don't have to tell me. I know how bad that felt. Only wanna have you pure and singing like a bell. Easy come, easy go, make it easy to be known. Easy come, easy go, make it easy to be known. Easy come, easy go, make it easy to be
down to film my haul of everything that I bought over the course of that day. I meant to film this the day after. I sat down to actually try to film this, and I ended up having a bunch of issues with my phone storage. I could not get enough space on my phone for me to shoot the full session. And so I just kind of crashed out, and I bought myself a vlogging camera. So we are now shooting on a brand new camera with a new microphone. I don't know how this is gonna go. We're just gonna see how it works. We're shooting in a new spot. I'm in my kitchen with my giant white wall. So we're just gonna try this, see how it works. Hopefully the audio works and the video looks good. But yeah, let's go through everything that I bought. Over the course of the 10 stops that we made at the 10 different shops, I ended up buying 14 books total. And I also got a few bookish, non-book things that I'm gonna show off to start. This is about 7 more books than I planned on buying when I went out. I really had hopes of getting a lot more non-book items and merch from all of these places, you know, candles and stationery and, you know, maybe a t-shirt here or something like that. But I ended up just getting a lot of books. And so we have a lot of catching up to do on my reading. I think April total, I've probably brought in 20 new books, which means all of the work that I have done for the last few months to get that physical TBR down, it's quickly being reverted. So May needs to be a month of a lot of reading. But the good news is that a lot of these books I have here, I'm very excited to read. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with some of the non-bookish things first. There's only a couple of them. First thing, we have this super cute Empress sticker that I got from Goblin Market. I am a baby tarot reader. I have friends who are very into tarot and who do a lot of readings and stuff. They've done readings for me, but I have been informed that the Empress is the card associated with Taurus. My zodiac sign is Taurus. My birthday's in a few weeks, and every time I see an Empress related thing, I always try to get my hands on it. So purchase 1 sticker. Second non-book purchase that I got was at, I got this from 3 Avenues bookshop, but I ended up picking up this cute Mother's Day card for my mom, and this needs to go in the mail very soon because Mother's Day is just around the corner. This card has these really cute deer on it. Just says, "I love you, Mom." And this is Botanica, and it's just I loved the artwork on it. My mom, if you know my mom, she is known for feeding a lot of the wild animals around her house. And so this card is very fitting. There's always deer. When I go visit, there's always deer in the yard and all of that. So I think this will be very perfect. Her Mother's Day gift, she's gonna be very surprised by, because I'm going to try to get her into reading more. But anyway, yeah, so card, next thing we got. And the last non-bookish thing that we picked up going back to tarot is I got my very own tarot deck. I'm so excited. I've been using this over the course of the week, and I really like it. I love the quality of the cards and the artwork. This is the Tarot of the Divine deck. And the thing that I really liked about this was that it has this beautiful artwork, and this is by Yoshitani. And this deck has all of the card names accurate. A lot of tarot decks will, with special themes, will change the name of some of the cards and things. And this does not do that. It keeps the classic names, which is what I really wanted out of my first tarot deck. But the artwork itself is stunning, and each card is associated with a different story or folkloric story from around the world. I just love these cards so much. They're so beautiful, and it's been really fun to sit and pull. I already know what my second tarot deck will be. I can't let myself fall down the rabbit hole. I will end up with a dozen tarot decks and only ever use one of them. But I do know that there's another deck that I want to get that I probably will get after I settle in with this one. But for now, love this. I can't wait to do I'm gonna do a full reading this morning, because today is May 1st as of filming this. I'm gonna do a full monthly poll and everything. So I'm really excited to use this. That is all of the non-book items that I bought on Any Bookstore Day. Everything else that we're gonna talk about is going to be solely books. First thing we're gonna do is talk about 3 books at once, because I picked up a full trilogy that I have already finished a few years back, but I really loved. And that is the Bear and the Nightingale series by Katherine Arden. These covers have this shine on them. These editions, I forgot were coming out. These were released, I want to say probably late last year, I believe. The cover illustrations are done by Kelly Chong, and they have this beautiful metallic foiling to them. This is a very atmospheric trilogy following a girl coming of age in Russia, and her name is Vasya, and she is kind of stuck between the old religion and the new religion of the world. The old religion revolving around spirits and old folklore, and Vasya believes in those. She was raised to believe in these spirits, and she sees these spirits. She sees the house spirits, and she knows that there are spirits in the woods and things like that, and she's very in tune with them. And on the other hand, you have the church coming in, the Orthodox Church, who is trying to build their kind of devout following and wanting to push out the old religion because they view it as archaic and in some ways I think a little barbaric. And so Vasya is stuck in the middle of this fight because she has family on both sides of this. And this is one of the most beautifully written trilogies I've ever read in my life. I just devoured this whole series once I got my hands on it. I love them. I think they're stunning. These editions are so beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to do with the old editions that I have because I have the original covers as well, but these are just beautiful and I can't wait to have them on my shelf. But good news is because I've read all these, they don't count against my TBR. So yeah. So let's talk about some sequels that I bought next. I have a couple of those from different series that I have been reading. First up we have And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. I read First Time Caller in April. Absolutely loved it. I did not think I was gonna love that book as much as I did. I was a little bit skeptical. I read Good Spirits by B.K. Borison over the holidays, and I did enjoy that quite a bit because I wanted a cheesy holiday romance, and it delivered. But First Time Caller I was skeptical on, but I absolutely devoured that book in a few days. I loved Arden, and I loved just Lucy, and like everything about that book I just had so much fun with. And so I knew I had to get my hands on the sequel as soon as possible. This is following one of our characters who was introduced in the first book, which is named Jackson. Jackson is like the meteorologist for the radio station where our main character Arden works in the first book. Jackson has a rivalry with Delilah Stewart, who is the meteorologist for the TV station that is literally like next door to the radio station. And so these two end up having to work together to cover this major snowstorm that's hitting Baltimore. And I think they end up getting kind of stuck in this storm while they're going to do all this weather coverage for it, and they have to kind of like, you know, only one bed type trope things. So I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's kind of more of a rivals to lovers situation, more so than enemies to lovers, I think, which I love a good rivals to lovers. But I think this will be a lot of fun. I enjoyed Jackson as a character in the first book, and I have friends who have read this and raved about it. They said it was even better than First Time Caller, which that's a pretty high bar actually for me. So I'm gonna be really curious to see how this goes, but I might save this for the winter just because it's set in a snowstorm. It feels like it's gonna be a very good like late November, early December read, just to kind of, you know, get those vibes in there. So, And Now Back to You. Next up, a series that again I also read. I think the second book in the series I read in March. I think it was part of my March reading wrap up. But we have the third book here, which is The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman. This is the third book in the Thursday Murder Club series. They changed the covers of these series, which really annoys me because the first two books that I have like a white. It's like there's like a colored border with white in the middle and all the text is on the white. And now they're doing all these solid color covers, which look fine, they look great. I just have to have matching editions. So I'm gonna have to go buy different editions of the first two, which annoys me quite a bit. But anyway, this book I believe is more focused on Elizabeth once again. I think the mystery in this is that somebody has come from Elizabeth's past to give her a job she basically can't refuse, and if she fails, she will be killed. Elizabeth and her friends have to work together to try to solve this before Elizabeth ends up dead as well. I don't have a ton to say about this series other than the fact that I really enjoy them. These books I think are really great for just like sitting down when I need something just to read for fun, when I don't want to think too hard, when I just want to enjoy a book. I love picking up this series. I believe there's like 5 books out in this series now, maybe 6. I hope Richard Osman writes like a dozen more because I just love these characters so incredibly much. The next sequel is part of a series called Love's Academic by India Holton. And the first book in that series is The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love. The second one is The Geographer's Map of Romance. And then the third book that just came out in April is The Antiquarian's Object of Desire. Now, I have only read the first book in this series, again, a book I read earlier this year, I believe in February. I thought it was very cute and campy. It's very whimsical, there's a little silliness to it. This is set in our world, but there are magical elements to our world. In the first book, they're ornithologists, so they are studying birds, capturing birds, all of that. They're bird scientists.
In this one, you are following magic antique experts. And these two people, and I love the trope of this book because normally it's the opposite. This is kind of turning a very popular trope on its head, and that is fake dating. So our two main characters in this book are best friends and they really like each other, but they actually have to pretend to despise each other. They have to do that in order to protect their reputations and save their jobs and all this other different stuff. And I love that trope as somebody who, I love a fake dating trope, but I actually really love the idea of these two people like being on, you know, really like each other and having to pretend that they don't. I think there's some really interesting things that can happen there. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this one after I read book 2, which I'm hoping to get to in May, because I meant to read it in April and I just didn't get to it in time, but this one would like to get to very quickly. I really hope that this series has a lot more books in it because I really love the world and the characters, and again, it's just very fun, lighthearted romance that it's just nice to sit down with and not, you know, feel super stressed out about, you know, what's gonna happen to all these characters. So it's just fun. Can't wait to read this one. Our last sequel is one that man, I don't even know how to talk about this series. I love it so much. I continued this series in January. It was one of my 5-star reads of January, the second book in the quartet. And now I have the third book in my hand and I really cannot wait to dive back into this world. And that is the Mirror Visitor series. And this is book 3, The Memory of Babel. The way that book 2 ended, oh my God, I could not. I enjoyed book 1 in this series. I thought it was interesting. I thought the characters were interesting. I really liked the world building, the political intrigue, a lot of court drama. And I was kind of like, you know, I want to see where this goes. Book 2, oh my God, blew me away. The ending of book 2, I am still thinking about. I desperately need to know what is happening to our characters. So this book is going to be really hard for me to hold off on. I do feel like this will be a good late fall read because part of the book, the first 2 books take place in this very cold climate, so they feel like very natural winter reads, but I believe we are moving locations for this book and maybe for book 4. So maybe this can be more of a fall read. But in this, you are following Ophelia. She lives in a world where it's implied that it's our world, but like a far off future. Things are different. The rapture has happened, and now people live on these small places called arcs, and each arc has like a magic associated with it. Ophelia lives on one arc and is sent to live at another where she has been betrothed to the treasurer of that other arc, and it is like a very cold Arctic climate. And she kind of finds herself embroiled in all this like court intrigue and some messy webs that she has to kind of untangle, and her fiance is very like kind of brooding and mysterious. I just love this series. I love these characters. I love this world. I know that this story, the next 2 books change very like they're very different from the first 2 books. I know a lot of people struggle with that, but I'm actually really curious to see where this is going to go because of the world building and the things that were set up at the end of book 2. So can't wait to read this one. Also love these cover illustrations. They're absolutely stunning. Just incredibly beautiful artwork. It's very detailed. So yeah, cannot wait to get to this one. This will definitely be one that I read before the end of the year. Let's talk about some standalones that I got and a couple of new releases that just released, I think, within the last few weeks. First one up is Go Gently by Maria Semple. This is the author of Rodrigo Bernadette, which I read years and years back. I enjoyed that book. I thought it was interesting. I never saw the film, but I didn't love the trailer, so I never felt the desire to see that movie, but I enjoyed the book. I thought it was an interesting concept. In this, you are following, our main character is Adora Hazard. She has curated this kind of perfect life for herself in New York. She is like a philosopher and she loves art, and she has this like circle that she's curated, and she lives in this great apartment building. Like, she has a very specific life that she has made for herself, and she avoids her past, and she just, you know, if she just keeps everything exactly as it is right now, she's gonna be super happy. And then she finds herself meeting a stranger, and that stranger suddenly gets her into art fraud and all sorts of these deep underbelly things and dark things, and it brings her past back to the forefront, and she is forced to kind of deal with all these different things. I haven't heard many reviews about this, but I know Rodrigo Bernadette, I think people were kind of polarized on. Either people really loved the formatting and the prose, or they really didn't, and I'm assuming this book is probably following in that same vein. I do love the cover of this with the statue and everything. I think this is really, really stunning. So yeah, this is one I would like to get to maybe this summer. I think it would be a really interesting read. I'm a big fan of anything that involves like art and forgery and all that. So yeah, book one, first new release. The book that I was most excited to get today, and I'm absolutely glad that I managed to get it, was Yesteryear by Caro, Clare, Burke. Everybody's talking about this book. I don't know how, like, I'm one of many. I know people who have read this already, who have read the arc and loved it. I absolutely cannot wait to read this. In fact, this is the book I'm going to start today as soon as I'm done filming this video. This is what I'm picking up. In this, you are following a woman who, in present day, she is a try-to-wife influencer, basically. She lives on a farm with her husband, and she has curated this image of being like this farmer's wife and this very glamorous, you know, whitewashed life of what a farmer's wife looks like. You know, she doesn't tell her followers that, oh, she has a bunch of people working behind the scenes. She doesn't have a personal chef, or there's no farm, like, you know, she doesn't say that there's farm hands doing all this. And one day she wakes up and she is sent back in time to the 1800s, and she is a true farmer's wife. And she and her family is with her and everything, but they have no like recollection of their life in the future. And she does, and she has to deal with what it actually means to be a traditional wife, staying at home and living on a farm. And I have just heard that this book is insane. Everybody I've talked to who has read this has said, one, the main character is completely insufferable. And two, that it is just such a wild ending. And so I'm very curious to know what that means. This is literally the first book I'm reading in May. I need to know. I need to be a part of the hype. I need to be able to talk about it with my friends. And I know I have a lot of friends who are really wanting more people to talk about it with. So this is high on my list to get to. If I love this book too, I'm absolutely gonna get the UK edition of this because I can't stand this cover. I'm sorry to the cover designer. I'm so sorry. This design is not it. Not when you know the UK cover looks like what it does. But anyway, Yesteryear, #1 pick. So glad I was able to find it because a lot of shops were saying that they couldn't keep it in stock, but managed to get my hands on a copy. So excellent. Cannot wait to read this. I'm not gonna talk about this next one for too long because I'm really only picking this up to add to my collection because I'm collecting the Pelican Shakespeare editions, and when I saw that they had a few, one of the bookstores had a few that I didn't own yet, I had to get my hands on that. So this is King Lear by Shakespeare. The thing that I love about these editions is this beautiful illustration that they put on the front and on the back. It's just, I love how everything matches. And so I've read King Lear many years back. I'm probably due for a reread. That's one of the things that I think maybe like 2027, 2028 is we start trying to like reread a Shakespeare play every month, because I know I read King Lear way back in the day, but I don't know if I can tell you anything about it anymore. So anyway, can't wait to get into this at some point as part of like maybe a larger reading project. But so glad that I have another one of these editions on my shelf. I have a couple of nonfictions to talk about. The first one, this was kind of a random buy. I didn't have this on my list, but I had watched a YouTube video from a journaler. Her account's called Word Layout. And she was talking about how this book was kind of what set her on her commonplacing journey, which I thought was really interesting. And I've never read anything by this author. She's a poet, I think, primarily. But I've never read any of her poetry or any of her other writings, and I thought this one might be interesting to dive into, and that is Upstream, Selected Essays by Mary Oliver. This cover is just beautiful, first of all. It's just got this, I love a good cover with just like nature on the front. I think it's just a really subtle but beautiful, you know, way to design a book. And these essays, I believe, revolve around Mary Oliver, reflecting on beauty of nature and the mysteries of the natural world and the world of literature. So I think this could be really interesting. I haven't read a lot of essay collections recently. I'm trying to remember. I don't even know if I could tell you the last essay collection I've read. Probably a Joan Didion collection, I would say. Or I guess, no, that's not true. I read Hope in the Dark. Hope in the Dark is an essay collection, so Hope in the Dark was the last one, but I would like to read more. And I think this one will just be really, you know, it's not terribly long. I think this will be a really interesting one to dive into. The other nonfiction book that I picked up during the haul was one that has been high on my list for a little while now, and I think is probably going to infuriate me to read, but I think it's an important read, and that is Jesus and John Wayne, How White Evangelicals Corrupted a Faith and Fractured a Nation by Kiristin Kobes-Dubnez. This is a book that examines how Christianity really went from being something that was viewed as very feminine and very like all about like helping the poor to being this tool of kind of white nationalism in so many ways, and how it became kind of this masculine thing. And I don't really know what more to say about it other than that. Some of the chapter names in here are hilarious though. We have John Wayne Will Save Your Ass, No More Christian Nice Guy, Why We Want to Kill You. This was the other nonfiction I picked up. Really interested in getting into this sometime soon. I think this is a very timely read for where we are at right now. 2 more books to talk about and then we're gonna be done. The first one that I want to cover, this is another book that I read earlier this year and just wanted to get a physical copy of. That is Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley. I talked about this in my reading wrap up for March, and this is I would not call it a romantasy, but I would call it more of a fantasy with some romantic elements in it. And this is set in a fantasy world. You're following Kenna. Kenna lives in a village that is at the edge of this bog that splits the human world from the Fae world. At the start of the book, her village is having this ritual that they do every 6 years where 4 human women are chosen to go live among the Fae, and in return the Fae are supposed to provide protection for the humans. Our main character, Kenna, kind of thinks this is all a lie because she sees how much humans are suffering and she doesn't believe the Fae are actually doing anything. But she ends up getting involved in this ritual and going to the Fae lands. But thankfully, she had already found this dagger in the water, in the bog, when she had been searching that morning. And this dagger quickly, it becomes very apparent that this dagger is what's going to help her survive while she's in the Fae world. There are trials in this. There are really great female friendships in this. I think Kenna is a really great female main character. I think the romances and this implied love triangle that comes into play is the least interesting part of this book, but I loved the world enough and the magic system and kind of the political intrigue enough that I really want a copy of this and I want to get my hands on book 2. I don't believe book 2 is out in paperback yet, so I have to wait for that to happen, but we'll definitely be reading book 2 as soon as possible because I believe book 3 is coming out in December. The cover just got released and all these covers are just these beautiful illustrations. And last but not least, this book is another one of those books where I saw so many people talking about it on like Bookstagram and BookTube, and I saw it on a shelf like early in the day and I said, you know what, let's just give it a try. I know this is a 7-book series. I don't believe all of them have been translated yet, but it just sounds so fascinating and I want to give it a try. That is On the Calculation of Volume by Solveig Belle. This is translated from the Danish by Barbara Haviland. This book is following a woman who is stuck in a time loop. She is replaying the same day in November over and over again, and she can't figure out how to get out of this loop. It's just following her as she's trying to navigate the situation, try to get out of it and all of this, and it just sounded really interesting. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, and this cover design. All these cover designs are like this very like, you know, gradiated kind of blob, and I just think these covers are beautiful. So I love also the naming format where everything is on the calculation of volume and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So very, very excited to get to this. I think this will probably be a summer read for me, and I can't wait to dive in. So that's everything that I bought on Indie Bookstore Day. I hope you guys had a really great Indie Bookstore Day, and let me know what you bought, if you had any books that you're really excited for. I have a lot of reading to do. That's basically the conclusion of this video. I have a lot of reading to do. So I hope you all have a great week or weekend, rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.